Around, don't get caught in the mosh pit. Fuel to the fire, ain't nobody can stop it. Trouble in my city, but you know I'm across it. Got a 40 on my hip and I'm liable to spark it. Throw down these hits, my click is indivisible. I aim, you duck, I squeeze, now you invisible. I'm not afraid of getting physical. All these different chemicals are fogging up my visuals. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we notorious, we ain't no runners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we some warriors, they ain't called gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Put on my strap, put on the beat, put on the map, put on my team. Take out every motherfucker in between, know what I mean? Better myself, better my aim, better my rap, better my name. Killing rappers on my hang, I'm by their chains for the fame. Never thought I would it, now I'm running. You don't wanna follow me, now I'm looking for.
What's up, what's up? Good evening, and welcome. Welcome to a special episode of Steve the Kidney Nurse. I'm your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you guys for joining. Share this broadcast. This is a very important topic. I want to thank my guys and gals on TikTok for joining in. Also, people from Facebook and YouTube. Man, this topic, fluid management, is very important. I didn't know how important this was until I seen a TikTok video of a dialysis patient, young lady that traveled, and when she got back, she had fluid on her. And then I seen another content creator that's on dialysis that was showing what it would be if you had too much fluid on. So this is, and even me working, I've been seeing them reschedule patients for extra treatment, and they not even, display the classic symptoms of like shortness of breath and I need to come back. It's like they look at their legs and edema and they think, okay, let's bring them in for an extra treatment. And I'm starting to wonder this high influx of extra treatments, if it's a money thing. Okay, because they only get paid for 3 treatments a week. If you get an extra treatment, that's justification right there. And Medicare just pays the bill. But look, let me put my green screen back on because it will give you the impact of what's going on. Have you or someone that has so much fluid on that they had to go to the hospital and then they had to get intubated, meaning had the tube down their throat because they was in respiratory distress? Has that happened to you? Has anybody watching this broadcast right now, please comment, let your voices be heard. There's no other kidney show or health show like this one that discusses the tough topics and has you, the viewers, in mind. Okay? Because you could be dealing with this at home thinking you're the only one. But no, you're not. Hundreds or thousands of other warriors deal with the same issue of trying to manage their fluid intake. Because how do you go one day, you're eating and drinking anything you want. You know what I'm saying? Got the water, you're eating this, you're eating that. And then the next thing you know, you got to minimize it to 32 ounces. You can't eat this. You can't eat that. Why? Because it got too much phosphorus. It got the potassium. And that because of that, it can have an impact on your overall health if it's too much of this stuff in your system. So what do? You can't rely sometime on a unit dietitian. You try to reach out to them, and that's one of your rights. That's one of the patient's rights. You have a right to see a dietitian and a social worker. But what do you do if your clinic, if the dietitian is seeing 200 other patients? Somebody's going to fall through the cracks. Okay? So let's start off with this. Is there why YouTube, Facebook, or my TikTok ever had to do an extra treatment due to fluid overload? Sound off. Have anyone ever had to do an extra treatment? They say, you felt fine. You resting, you got your headphones on, you watching Price is Right, whatever, Wayne Brady, let's make a deal. And you looking, and next thing you know, you see the doctor and some nurse or whatever come to you and they checking you out. And they're like, they don't say nothing to you right then and there. And the next thing you know, the nurse comes, hey, Dr. So-and-so wants you to come in for an extra treatment. Or you may be a caregiver and they call in your house. Hey, what's the name? Got to come in for an extra treatment. Yes. Okay. Listen, I'm not saying this is a disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. Okay. I'm not here to diagnose, to treat, cure, or anything like that. But you have to advocate for yourself, meaning if you don't think you had that right to participate in your own treatment, if you don't think you need an extra treatment, you ain't got to come in. If you feel, and sometimes you have to wonder, do I really need an extra treatment or is this a money thing? So look, another question. How many people on dialysis ended up in the hospital due to fluid overload? Or your parents because of fluid overload? Now, no one said it would be easy. No one said it would be easy, right? If you're on dialysis and you need to manage your fluid and you just started, no one said it would be easy doing that. Okay? So you're not alone. But why is fluid important when it comes to dialysis? You hear a lot about it. Why is it important? So look at this. By managing fluid and sodium, talking about salt, and the intake of these, a lot of symptoms can be prevented. if you can manage your fluid and salt intake, a lot of those symptoms can be prevented. And you're like, Steve, what symptoms are you talking about? Like, Steve, what are you talking about? What symptoms? I'm glad you asked. I'm talking about symptoms like high blood pressure between treatments. You know what I mean? You come in and you know you had a fluid on, like take off 3. Take off 3.5. And they take your pressure and it's 180 over 110. 190 over 120. I seen some as high as 240 over 140. And the patient had multiple stroke, paralyzed on one side. Paralyzed on one side. And he's still walking around in hypertensive crisis. Or another symptom could be low blood pressure during treatment, because when you have this fluid on and you want to take it off, don't think it's not a consequence for that. It's the fluid shift. When we talk, listen, the art of, always remember this, the art of medicine is not an exact science. It's not. The art of medicine is not an exact science. So everything is not going to go right all the time. And if you have a lot of fluid on and you know this, you know, because you may be eating like a pizza or something that's high in salt. And we know, and if you don't know, the people who have taken chemistry, we know about the molecules, the hydrogen and the sodium. They bond together. And people are like, what are you talking about, Steve? This ain't science class. No, but what I mean is wherever salt goes, water's going to go with it, because that's the chemical makeup. It attracts it. So that's why if you go eat Chinese food, you may order the pork yak, shrimp fried rice, beef and broccoli, Szechuan shrimp, or you may get some chicken wings and fries. And you know these Chinese places, you don't know what type of oil they're using, for one, okay? To fry that stuff in, that got sodium. Let alone, you don't know what phosphorus or potassium is in that. And so then you get that, and of course you want something to drink. You can't leave a restaurant without getting something to drink. Dr. Pepper or half and half here in Baltimore. Or, you know, down south, some tea or lemonade. And, you know, we've seen a lot of these clinics, people come in with the big gulp. Yes. I worked at a unit in Baltimore that a lot of these clinics used to have ice machines. Patient come down the day, listen, let me tell you how important fluid is. We had patients coming down to the dialysis unit, it wasn't even their day. Wasn't even their day. But they come down with you know, when you go in the supermarket, they give you those plastic bags. Something like, wait a minute, something like this. Patients come down there and fill up the bag with ice, or come down with the hospital thing they give you, the picture in the hospital. Come down and fill it up with ice, 2 and 3 at a time, and go back home. So another symptom that can happen if you gain fluid and you're trying to get it off, and we all know, is the cramping. That's the biggest thing that patients complain about, is the cramping. If you're watching this, I'm sure you're experiencing cramping on dialysis, whether it's in your legs, your toes, your hands, your back, your ribs, your side, or whatever. I'm doing the show. I can't do no thing while I'm doing the show. Sorry about that. So we know. And a lot of people, like, you see patients say, hey, like, I'm cramping, and then they'd be like, don't give me no fluid, don't give me no fluid, don't give me no fluid. Be like, why? Because, oh, you're just putting fluid back on. That's the purpose, because we poured off fluid where it wasn't supposed to be poured off. When you're cramping, that means you're at your dry weight. Dry weights are variable. You're like, Steve, what do you mean they variable? It's like an algebra problem. It changes. And what do you mean, why does it change? So look, if you eat meals a day, or you got a healthy appetite, and you eat and you're gaining muscle tissue weight. And so if your kidney doctor or the nurse practitioner, if they not coming in and they looking at your weight and evaluating it, and you don't have that rapport, that's going to go miss. And so whatever's in the computer, that's what the technician or nurse, that's what they're going to set your goal for. And next thing you know, you're cramping. If they're not mindful of this, and we're like, look, this is what you come in today, this is what you've been leaving out, we need to get your weight adjusted. But until then, we're going to take you off like what you leave out at. So your weight could be, say, 50. That could be your target weight or your dry weight. But you've been eating good, 3 meals, living life, just real, feeling good. And so you could be coming in now at 54, let's say 53. And you've been controlling your fluids. But the scale says one thing and they try to take it off, and you cramping. You're like, what the hell is going on? Why am I cramping? And no one seems to know. No one knows. Don't want to answer your questions. And next thing you know, the doctor comes in, you tell him, like, oh, we got to raise your weight up. So whatever you leave out, say you've been leaving out, like I said, 50, you've been coming in at 53, and that you've been leaving out at 51, 51.5, and you're still trying to get down. But if you get down to 50.8, 50.9, you're passing out. You stand up. You're trying to take your pressure. You like, I gotta sit back down. I can't do this. That means you need to be rehydrated. And that's why I think, okay, all right, so that's what I do as a nurse. I'm in the unit, and patient, say, look, don't pull the needle yet. Let them stand up and get the pressure so we can see. And if the pressure, if it drops, or if it's like 80 or 90, and that's not normally the baseline at the end, then you way below your weight. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this, but you have to be in the present moment to understand how you feel as a patient and when you're leaving out. Also, shortness of breath. If you at home and you know you've been drinking a lot, but and all of a sudden you really can't breathe like you normally do, you at home, 1 minute you're able to lay down and lay flat, and now you need 3 and 4 pillows to feel comfortable to go to sleep. And you're like, this never happened to me before. What's going on? That's the fluid buildup. Also, swelling in your ankles or other parts of your body that's normally not there. And the most important one, damage to your heart. Yes, extra fluid can stretch your heart and cause congestive heart failure. And if you don't address that, and you want to get a transplant, you could kiss that goodbye. So you don't have to do anything. One should be mindful when it comes to fluid intake, especially between treatment. Don't play with this. If you on dialysis and you still urinate, that's one thing. But if you don't, and you know that you eat food that's high in sodium, chicken, pizza, or whatever, hot dog, whatever that's high in sodium, that's going to always attract you to drink fluid. So let's move on to what you want to know about fluid. So most people or most patients on dialysis feel best when drinking 32 ounces or less of fluid per day. You hear that number all the time, 32 ounces, 32 ounces. Yes, because literature, evidence-based, has been tested that most people feel best drinking 32 ounces of fluid per day. Now, 16 ounces is 2 cups. And that equals a half a kilogram or 1 pound. Again, 16 ounces, 2 cups of fluid equals a half a kilogram or 1 pound. So you want to try to aim to gain no more than 1 kilogram per day, or 2.2 pounds per day. So 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilogram. So you say, Steve, okay, so fluid. What counts as fluid? A lot of people may not understand that part. What count as fluid? So you could be watching this and you could be having something and you'd be like, I can't understand why I have all this fluid on where it's coming from. Well, you could be having something that could be counted as fluid and you don't know it. And that's why we do these education shows. You're not going to get this information anywhere else unless they come to you in the clinic, sit down with you, or give you some paper about fluid. And a lot of times, back in the past, when they used to give out handouts to patients about stuff, they'll put it on the chair, patient get it, look at it, ball it up, and put it in the trash. or they get up after treatment and leave it in the chair. I used to get it. Some of that information, I take it for myself. And that's how I accumulated a lot of this education information that I have. This information is power. That's why you have some patients on dialysis that's doing fabulous. They're doing exceptional. And you wonder why you feel this way? How do you feel like that and I feel like crap? Well, how do you go about approaching your treatment? Are you gaining a lot of fluid? Are you eating foods high in sodium? Are you eating foods high in potassium and phosphorus? Are you making your treatments on time? Are you running your full time? So what counts as fluid? Any drink, okay? Any drink or food that is liquid at room temperature, such as gelatin and homemade soup, count as fluid. If you get a pot of greens, count as fluid. So you may like greens. You know, people down south, that southern dish. You may have some stuff that you didn't know that at room temperature, if it melts, even sherbet. And check this out. 1 cup of ice melts to about 4 ounces of fluid. So when you see patients coming in with the big gulp, and it got all that ice in it, or the ice you eat, that's fluid that you have to count into your plan or goal. That's even if you have one. Also, remember this, side note, that sugar, caffeine, and salt may increase your thirst. So if you're a patient, you go to dialysis early in the morning, and you like to drink coffee and smoke a cigarette before going into treatment, that may increase your thirst after dialysis. So just remember that anything that melts at room temperature is considered fluid, and that most people feel good when drinking 32 ounces of fluid or less per day, bar none. If you did that, if you're watching this and you're on dialysis and you've been drinking more than 32 ounces per day, try switching to just 32 ounces, because it could be done. Other warriors have done it. That's that mind over matter. Just try it. And I want to give you some tips on how you can reduce your craving. Yes, there's a lot of tips out there that you may, it's a lot of warriors. And when I get to that part, put down what tips you've been using to quench your thirst, so you won't be drinking a lot of fluid and get into fluid management trouble. So maybe you can also, here go some tips on how to track your fluid intake. You may not even thought about that. And that could be the linchpin. That could be the linchpin, what I'm about to say, that can help you right now, if you didn't know. So here go some tips to track your fluid intake. Measure fluids using a liquid measuring cup. Now, I showed you guys one that I had yesterday, very small one. Now I can't find it. But one of those medicine cups. and it has it on the writing on the side, the ounces and the milliliters and the grams and all that. Or you can get one from the dollar store, measuring cup. Or go to Walmart or Amazon and find a water bottle or a bottle that has the writing on the sides of the ounces. All right. 2, find out how many ounces are in each cup, mug, and glass that you use at home. So now, if you want to do that, like you made like cocoa or whatever, find out how many ounces are in that mug. Or you have a favorite cup, find out how much it holds as far as fluid. Also, keep track of fluid intake by writing it down. That's what we do at the hospital. They call it I&Os, input, output. What fluid did you got coming in? You be in a hospital, you had all those IVs hooked up and nasal gastric down in nose and got a fecal tube and may have a Foley catheter. Fluid that comes out, they got to chart it. That's why a lot of that stuff have measuring stuff. When you had a catheter and you had the bag on the side, well, that bag on the side measures how much urine you excreted. So when you're in a hospital, everything has to be measured. It was what's going in. All the, like, you got IVs and how much fluid did he get? How much fluid did he take off in dialysis? How much did you threw up? How much did he throw up? And I can show you that in this thing right here. In this basin, they had the measuring. Like how much did he throw up? How much, vomited? You measured. Oh, 250 cc of vomited. Patient vomiting 250 cc's of undigested food. One say, how you get to know how much, patient threw up? Well, the writing is on the side of the basin. Also, if we use this one, you can see on the side the amount right here, the numbers on this bag. So some of you may be at a clinic now and they hand you this if you feel nauseated and you got to throw up. So they want you to throw up in here and then they can measure it, how much you threw up right here on the side, right? So either or, but a lot of units are going to this, and I just think this is small with the little round hole, because if you have projectile vomiting, man, it's going to go over that. Or you're just going to put your mouth like, you know what I'm saying? So this is one of the new ones, and this is still an old one that's still used. And again, they got the measuring. Then here go the measuring cup I was talking about, the medicine cup. Use this to pour a certain liquid in. You can use it like if you're taking cough medicine, use it for that, or anything that you got to measure your medicine as far as liquid. This got writing on the sides of the measurement, and you can get this off of Amazon. So also, another tip to track fluid, read beverage labels to find out how many ounces are in each container. Read the labels. And if you can't read it, don't be ashamed. Get somebody to read it for you. Don't let your health fail because of your pride. Okay? Don't let your health fail because of your pride. Also, remember that all fluid counts. All fluid you got to track. This includes fluid you drink during dialysis. How many of y'all come in dialysis and you got your bag and you got your bottled water or whatever, your tea, whatever in the bag, and you got your McDonald's? Huh? How many of you guys watching this that go to dialysis that maybe go by McDonald's or Burger King in the morning? to get one of those sausage and bacon sandwiches. Right? I know, I'm not judging. I ain't judging. But I'm just saying that those type of sandwiches are high in sodium. They not exempt, especially with that sausage patty. I can look it up right now and tell you how much sodium is in a sausage egg biscuit. And let's see that while I'm on the show. How much sodium in a McDonald's, let's see, McDonald's sausage egg biscuit. So we're saying that here go the nutrition facts on sausage biscuit with egg. Saturated fat, 14 grams. Cholesterol, 248 milligrams. Sodium, 1,082 milligrams. Now, what if you had kidney disease, right? And you weren't on dialysis. Let's say you had stage 3, stage 4, and you didn't know it, or you not even thinking about your diet or anything, right? Now, I would suggest, like I would say, reduce your sodium in that stage. Reduce it to about 1,500. The average daily allowance about 2,500 milligrams. And you done ate a sausage egg biscuit with 1,082 milligrams. So how much more? They only leave you, if I say, if the daily is 25 and I'm telling you 15, you only got 700, really 400 more milligrams of sodium. You're going to be way over that. So again, this is being mindful, because now you may think, oh, I'm not eating a lot of sodium, but you're going to McDonald's eating a biscuit that has, from the sausage, 1,082 milligrams of salt. And then you wonder why you're thirsty. Carbohydrate, 31 grams. Also, the fluid that you take for medicine, you have to take fluid. So if you take medicine 3 times a day and you want to take half a cup 3 times a day with your medicine, then you got to add that. But if you're not doing that, you're just doing things just as it is, not keeping track of your intake and doing this, then of course you're going to possibly get fluid overload and wonder why or where this fluid coming from, because you're not managing it right. So here goes some tips to manage thirst. Now, here goes, I'm sorry I haven't read the comments on TikTok, but I'm doing a show for YouTube and Facebook. But if I was on TikTok and not doing the shows, I would definitely address the comments. And if you're still around when I end the show, I definitely answer some comments. So my apologies to my TikTok audience. But here goes some tips to manage thirst. Now, you may not have heard of some of these tips, and you may have. And in the comments, TikTok, and even here on Facebook and YouTube, if you have any tips to share or what helped you manage fluid, share that in the comments so it can help other kidney warriors who may not understand or may not know manage their fluid intake. This is a global community that, you may be rich, right? You may be poor. You may live in the East. You may live in the South. You may live in the West. You may live in the North. You may be overseas in the States. But the one thing that's a common denominator here is kidney disease. That's the common denominator. I don't care if you got a stack, 100,000, 500,000, or if you poor, you still go through the same situation. Just one person have money to deal with it one way and the other person doesn't. But the kidney disease is what brings us together. And at some point you can't be selfish when you see your other brother or someone, young lady, that's dealing with the same condition that you are, but there's no global education, no one talking about it. So now you think you're alone. And that's why I try to do these education shows and do my advocacy to bring awareness and a spotlight on this community so it could be more education. I'm only one person. I'm just one person trying to do my part. You don't see me up here asking for any cash apps. I ain't never asked for no cash apps or none of that. I may on TikTok ask for subscribers, but that's not the focus of this. It's education. So here go some tips to manage your thirst. And again, you may have heard this, you may not. Whatever you use to manage your thirst, put it in the comments. 1, rinse your mouth frequently. Yes, rinse your mouth out frequently. 2, brush your teeth to keep your mouth minty fresh. Brush your teeth to keep your mouth minty fresh. 3, use a mist bottle to spray your mouth. One of the bottles, put some lemon juice in it. Use a mist bottle to spray your mouth. Chew gum, like the sports gum, like Gatorade gum, like the athletes be out there in the summer chewing that sports gum. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suck on candies or lemon or lime wedges. I seen somebody wrote in somebody's comment about hard candy. Now I would tell you. Now the Dollar General or Dollar Store, that's one of the only things they good for. They got like this sour candies for patients, right? But I don't encourage you to get the chocolate because of the phosphorus, but because they got those sour candies and mints that are cheap. Also, try eating frozen fruit instead of ice or water. Frozen, like if you like grapes, get some grapes and put them in the freezer, or find out what fruits that you can have, because we know there's a lot of potassium in a lot of fruits. But find out what fruits you can have, freeze it, cut it up, and put it in the freezer for a minute or 2. I'm talking longer than a minute. I'm just using that as a figure of speech. And then have that. Also, use lip balm. Use lip balm to prevent dry lips. I may need it too. I use the lip balm, the Carmel. They come in the yellow top with the white kind of like glass container that's short. Y'all know what I'm talking about? If you have diabetes, if you got diabetes, manage your blood sugar, because we know that if your blood sugar is out of whack, it can be a contributor for you being thirsty. So make sure you manage your blood sugar if you have diabetes. So let me just give you some things to know about sodium. All right, if you didn't know, sodium is a mineral that can cause increased thirst, fluid retention, and high blood pressure. So if you go to dialysis, you're watching this, and you're having trouble with increased thirst, fluid retention, or high blood pressure, check how much sodium you are bringing in. What foods are you eating? Because that's the only way you're going to get the sodium is from what you're eating. And once you target that, you change it. It's not going to happen overnight. As they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begin with that one single step. So if you know, it's your obligation to yourself to do something about it, so you don't wind up a victim of circumstances. You don't want to be a victim of circumstances when you could have known the information and reacted on it. So the recommended amount of sodium is 2,000 milligrams a day. I stand corrected because before I said 2,500, but that's a matter of opinion to what literature you're reading. Again, the art of medicine is not an exact science. So if they say the recommended amount of sodium is 2,000 milligrams daily, and you go out before dialysis and eat a big breakfast sandwich, egg and sausage, right there you're bringing in 1,000 milligrams. That only leaves you with another 1,000. And we know for a lot of people, they're going to eat at least twice more during the day, if not even more. So 1 teaspoon of salt has 2,300 milligrams of sodium, 1 teaspoon of salt. So they recommend having fresh food. Fresh food is the best. Limit salt when cooking. All right, don't just, get the salt packets. Try flavoring food with salt-free seasoning, blends, or herbs. Make your own spices. That's another thing the dollar store is worth. If you're going to go to Dollar General, at least go there and buy healthy stuff with whatever they got, like herbs and seasoning, bottled water. You want to leave that ham in the can alone, and chicken in the can, and the Jimmy Dean sausage and the Hot Pockets. That should be a no-no for you, especially with kidney failure. Let's look at some foods that are high in sodium that you should limit. Sodium, as I said earlier, is hidden in many foods. Even if it's not added during cooking, it's still salt in the foods. Tip, check the milligrams of sodium on the nutrition label. And if you don't know how to read it, Google how to read nutrition labels. That could be your best friend. Processed foods, including canned foods and processed meats such as bacon and sausage, even deli meat, are high in sodium. Even you go to Subway, be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to Subway. I'm going to Jared. Get me something from Subway. That still got sodium in it. They got it. That food is preserved and packaged, those vacuum packets or wherever their meat or whatever that it's coming from. Better believe it has salt in it. So also, here's a tip, choose fresh. You've been hearing me say that a lot, fresh or frozen foods instead of canned. So instead of getting a can of string beans, if that's what you got to get, or a can of greens, get it frozen. You don't have to get it in the can because now you're eliminating the sodium, the preservative that's keeping that, can't cuss, but it's keeping that stuff like it is. Also remember, packaged foods such as chips, pretzels, and salted nuts are high in sodium. So if you like Doritos, or if you eating wrap snacks, little Bootsy wrap snack, or little Romeo chips, or whatever, Lay's potato chips, Munchos, or Pringles, or whatever, they are high in sodium. All right? Pretzels, and even salted nuts. Now, if you just gotta have chips, pretzels, and salted nuts, at least choose low sodium. Choose low sodium, even though it still got sodium. Choose low sodium, or the unsalted version of this. All right. Also, some more tips about managing fluid. I talked about sucking on sugar-free hard candy, frozen fruits. You can take your medication with your meal or a snack instead of just taking it along with the fluid. Take it with the meal or a snack. If you smoke, you want to avoid smoking. Some of you may smoke weed or cigarettes or black and mild, whatever, cigars. May want to reduce that as well. I already talked about chew sugar-free gum. Talked about sucking on a lemon wedge. Measure your fluids with a measuring cup. Rinse your mouth out with mouthwash. Maintain a good blood sugar. And use salt-free seasoning. Herbs and spices. So, okay, I'm going to do one more talk about something. Then I'm going to look at these comments in Facebook and YouTube or the TikTok. But let's talk about cramping for a moment. Because a lot of patients cramp during dialysis and they want to know what the hell is going on. Why am I cramping? All right. Now, anyone who has cramped during a dialysis treatment would tell you that these cramps are painful and they occur quite suddenly. They just hit you like a thief in the night. 1 minute you sitting back doing what you do on dialysis. You could be asleep. You could be watching TV, Western, on a Saturday morning. You could be in the evening time watching Steve Harvey, whatever. And the next thing you know, you jumping out of your chair. And people in the unit, they looking around like, what's going on? And you're like, I'm cramping. And you pushing your foot down, trying to get this cramp out. And then at some point, some people, they stand up. And then next thing you know, you start feeling dizzy. Whoa, you gotta sit back down. Why is that? What is a cramp? The short version, it's a muscle spasm. A cramp is a muscle spasm. They usually occur in the calf of the lower leg where muscles are larger. Other areas where cramps can occur include the hands, the feet, the chest, and the abdomen, and sometimes the back or the sides. Then he's like, Steve, okay, you told me what it is. It's a muscle spasm, and you told me where they occur, but what causes them? Steve, tell me what causes them. I wish I could tell you. Surprisingly, the exact etiology or the exact cause of the cramping that occurs during dialysis is not known. It's not known. However, certain situations make the possibility of cramping more likely. What are you talking about, Steve? So check this out. Cramps tend to occur when patients, one, are below their target weight or dry weight, and two, are hypotensive, meaning their blood pressure is low. And so when does these cramps occur? You may not even had any cramps. You may have just started dialysis like, yeah, I'm on easy street. I'm glad I ain't had to experience no cramping yet. Hey, be careful. Because if you don't control your fluid, you could find yourself in the same situation. So you say, when does it occur? So I could be looking out for it. Like, when, no. But this is it. Cramping is more common. It's more common close to the end of the dialysis treatment. So how many of you on TikTok or Facebook and YouTube, how many of you on dialysis, you got like an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes left. Next thing you know, boom, you're cramping. Take me off. Take me off. Or they may say, you want to come off? You want to come off? And they happy to take you off. So now they get ready for the next patient. The earlier they get them on, the better. And now you done shorted your treatment 45 minutes because of cramping. And you didn't have to come off. All we do is reinfuse you with the saline. So you can still get your, what about the cleaning? You cramp, we turned it off. There's an intervention for the cramping by reinfusing you with fluid. It's not to come off, because what about the cleaning? Your blood still got to get clean. And then at the end of the month, when they draw in your blood, your KT over V is 0.98 or 1.1, and you wonder, like, why I'm not meeting clearance of 1.2? Because you're not running your whole prescription. Just because you cramp or your pressure drop low, unless like you had 5 minutes and you passed out or something like that, but that shouldn't constitute someone getting off the machine 45 minutes to an hour early, unless it's in a medical necessity. Because whether you get off at an hour early or your regular time, you better bet you're still going to get charged as if you ran a 4-hour or 3-hour, how many hour treatment. They still going to get paid. They get paid once your blood hit the machine. If you come off 5 or 10 minutes after you just started because some emergency, they still charge you. So that's what I was saying about patients, if they run late, no fault of their own, and you get the treatment like 45 minutes late or an hour, they're going to cut your time. But yet, on the flip side, when it's a holiday, here they come now with a letter with your name on it. You sitting in the chair, watching TV or whatever, secretary coming by you, and you go, here you go. And you looking at it, you open it up, and it say, dear so-and-so, on Christmas Eve, the facility will be running 3-hour treatments. And you say you 4 hours, and you really into your treatments and making sure you feel better. And you're like, what? I thought this was a life-saving treatment, and you cutting my time by an hour so your staff can leave. That shows you how they value your life. Why would someone want to cut somebody's treatment time and treatment, still charge you for 4 hours? They cut your treatment time, but when you want to get off early, they make you sign an AMA. You make me sign an AMA if I need to get off to go to a doctor's appointment, or if I need to take care of something with my husband or my wife, or got to go to my kids' school, whatever. I got to sign an early takeoff paper. You still charge my insurance as I was running my regular time. But now, when it's a holiday, you want to cut my time, but you want to cut my time. So what is it? It's the same thing. You cut your time, they make you sign. But when they cut your time because they want to get out of there early, you ain't got nothing to sign. So if you go out, all right, if you get your time cut 3 hours on a holiday and you go out and have a heart attack, you could probably hold them liable, because that same form, the AMA they want you to sign when you want to get off early has you don't hold them liable. You releasing liability because you getting off early. You releasing them from liability because you signed off early because you got to go to an appointment. But on the flip side, if they want to cut your treatment because they want to get out early to go celebrate a holiday, they can do it. You see the hypocrisy in that? It's a freaking mess. So when we talk about cramping, it occurs close to the end of dialysis treatment. This is when the person is the driest and most likely have a low blood pressure. When I say driest, meaning they at the weight. They ain't got no fluid on, no more. And that's where you know you're there. You may ask, if you never experienced it, you may say, is prevention possible? Yes. 2 ways to prevent cramping during the dialysis treatments are, 1, to limit the amount of fluid removed during the dialysis treatment, and 2, not go below your dry weight. Not go below the dry weight. So, to help limit the amount of fluid removed each treatment, drinking less fluid and eating less salt between treatment is key. That's the key right there. Drinking less fluid and eating less salt between treatment is the key. There's no other secret. So, to help prevent going below your target weight during the treatment, weigh consistently. Weigh with a similar amount of extra weight each day. When you go weigh, don't have your purse or your coat with you on the scale. Remove everything. Take your wallet out. If you got on Timberland boots or steel-toe boots, take them off. And if you're going to plan on wearing them, weigh them. So now you can subtract it from your weight. If you got any magazine or books, don't have that with you on the scale. Also, give your therapist the correct dialysis weight. That sounds easy, but it is also easy for you to get distracted and forget the exact number. So we recommend write your weight down on a Post-it note, or if they got a scale with the printer and the weight come out, do that, because you can be walking right, you get your weight, and then you know how you speak to the other patients. Stop. Hey, what's going on? Talk about the football game, especially if it's on a Monday. You're talking about Sunday. Yeah, the Cowboys whipped that butt. Yeah, or Philadelphia. You know, and then you get to the chair, right? You speaking to everybody, and hey, you know. And then when you get to your chair, and like, what was your weight? And you be like, I think it was 98.1, 98.3, 98.6. All right, let's go back to the scale. Let's go back to the scale and get your weight. And this time you got to go with them so you can verify it for yourself. And that'll be a 98.5. So that's why it's important to write this down. You may get distracted walking through the unit, speaking to people, and that's understandable. It really is. Know your prescribed target weight. That's very important. Know what your weight. If you don't know it tonight, go in tomorrow or Tuesday and say, what's my dry weight? Know it and understand it and how you feel when you come off dialysis at this weight or that weight, okay? If you think your weight may have changed because you've been eating or not eating, talk to your doctor, all right? You don't want to keep fooling with this and, you cramping all the time, and it may be unnecessary because they didn't adjust your dry weight. Something simple as that. So check this out. Remember this. You're watching on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Remember this. When you are below your target weight, your family member, when they're below their target weight or dry weight, that's the weight without any fluid on. This is what you're going to expect. When you're below that weight that they set for you, like if they set a weight at 50 and you go out at 49, 48, or even 47, you go below 50, this is what you expect to see on the average. Low blood pressure, lightheadedness, and cramping. Remember that. If you go below your dry weight, you're most likely to experience low blood pressure, lightheadedness, and cramping. Now, when you're above, so if you're 50 and you come in at, say, 55 and you leave out at 52 or 53, but you're really 50. When you're above your target weight, you're going to expect to see an elevated blood pressure, swelling, and possibly shortness of breath. Now, when you're at your dry weight, when you're at your target weight, you leave out at 50, 50.1, 50.2, or even just 50, you're going to expect to see a normal blood pressure, no swelling in the hands or feet, and no shortness of breath or fluid in the lungs. So again, the key, managing fluid intake, managing your salt intake. That's the key. So, as I close out, I'm going to go over this. If a cramp occurs, how is it treated? Now, a lot of people, maybe watching and say when they cramping, they may got mustard. I'm sucking on mustard. I don't care what you say, Steve. Mustard. All right, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But some people may have salt and vinegar chips, or it has something high in sodium when they start cramping, or to even prevent them from cramping. But medically, that's not what we do in the dialysis clinic, meaning if you're cramping, I'm not going to get a bottle of Heinz mustard and give it to you. I'm not going to get no pickle juice and hand it to you and say, drink it. It's helping you for your cramps. No, that's not the procedure. The procedure, for a lot of times, if a cramp occurs because a person is too dry, saline, okay? Saline is the treatment of choice. This is a 0.9% sodium chloride, meaning salt in the water. 0.9. basically is compatible with the body. That's the treatment of choice. To prevent additional fluid weight loss, now we're going to turn off the UF rate or the ultrafiltration on the dialysis machine. That's also lowered. Also, if the cramp is in the leg, pushing against the foot can help. What I mean, you see some people got nurse go with a clipboard and had the patient press their feet on it, and they pushing. What this does is stretches the calf muscle and may relax the muscle spasm. Standing up can also stretch this muscle, but it's not recommended, especially when dialyzing, because you know why? Standing when you're too dry can lead to a large drop in blood pressure, leading to dizziness and falls. I seen the patient stand up that was cramping, and next thing you know, bloop, fell on the floor, lines hanging. Needles didn't come out. We lifting the patient up, trying to get him in the chair. He out. We got him all in the chair and flipping the chair back in Trendelenburg and pulling them back. And, oh, it was a mess. But he was all right. And, you know, he was like, what happened? What happened? And we always say, man, I wish I could have went where you went. You know, because when patients pass out, they come back, they don't know what happened. They don't know what happened. So, with that being said, man, that's it for the education. Talked about fluid management, talked about cramping. Hopefully you got something out of it that can help you or add value into your situation dealing with chronic renal failure. Let me go through some of these comments on here. Hey, Margaret, Latasha, thanks. Chris Edward. Let me see. Margaret says, hello, Steve. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Margaret. Peace and blessings to you. Chris Edwards. Hey, thanks for joining, Chris. Stephen Graham. Thank you for joining, Steve. Margaret says, you better research yourself. Never had to go in for extra treatment. I watch my fluid very closely. I hear other patients needing it. Wow. Yeah, so it happens. You know it happens because you hear other patients needing it. It's hard on your body taking off a lot of fluid. Absolutely. Tasha, hey, great day to you as well. Thanks, Latasha. I appreciate your support. Everything sure won't go right on dialysis. You're right. Cramping as hell. Let's see, she said, doctor told me last we do 3.5 instead of 4. Thank God blood is clean. Say that, Steve. Mind over matter. Yeah. Mint Lifesaver helped me stay away from fluid. Oh, mints. Lifesavers. Yeah, a lot of people like the Lifesavers mint. Good information, Steve. Much needed. Thank you, Margaret. You better have your mustard pickle juice. David Rollins said they don't give a damn about our lives as long as they get paid. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm so glad the center doesn't cut time on holidays. Oh, hey, that's a blessing that they didn't cut your time. Business as usual. Yep. Hey, Steve, I've been eating Tums because I've been out of binders and now my calcium is high as hell. Yeah. See, you got to watch out for the Tums because it has the calcium in it. And, you just got to be careful with that because you don't want to have high calcium and then start getting these calcium deposits and get something calcified in your blood and something called calciphylaxis. So be careful of that, David, please. Yep. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down on TikTok and YouTube. I really appreciate your support. Please, guys, on TikTok, go to my YouTube and subscribe. Share this broadcast, guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Patrice. Patrice says, yes, always happens to me. I'm thinking you're talking about getting your treatment cut or cramping. Yes, cramps occur close to getting off machine. Okay. Yeah. Like a Charlie horse. Absolutely, Shawana. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to my channel, Steve the Kidney Nurse. I appreciate your support coming on. Latasha, Junior. Hey, Junior, what's going on? Thank you for support and showing up. Margaret, appreciate you. Steve Graham, Chris, David. Who else? Shawana Banks. Yeah, absolutely, Shawana. Anytime you need any help or anything, please, you can reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. Also, if I haven't mentioned to you guys, you don't know, I'm the author of this book, How to Survive Outpatient Hemodialysis, a guide for patients with kidney failure. If you're just starting dialysis or you know someone just starting and they haven't even started outpatient, suggest this book to them. They can go to my site, www.stevethekidneynurse.com. And this would pretty much give them insight before even walking through the front door so they know what to expect. Hopefully it will reduce anxiety of what's going on, the unknown. Because, when you get diagnosed, you don't know nothing about kidney disease or kidney failure unless someone tells you. But if you've never been in the clinic and now you got to start, of course, people are going to have anxiety of the unknown because now you got to go somewhere 3 times a week for the rest of your life or until you get a transplant or till you pass away and deal with people at this clinic, different personalities going to be coming through there. You don't know what you're going to be running into. So having the inside skinny before actually getting into the facility is, who wouldn't want to know? It's like intelligence. I want to know what to look for so I can be prepared. You may go in there, start dialysis. No one told you anything. There, say in the summertime, right? Or not even in the summertime, you come like with a shirt like mine on, right? No one told you anything. You think it's going to be a comfortable environment. You get there, it's cold as hell. And you're like, oh my God, can you cut down cut up the temperature? Like, no, we don't have a key to the thermostat. You're like, what the hell? And you cold, you on the machine for 3.5 hours. The chair's not heated. Some places got heated chairs, but they say the ones you had don't. And it's your first day. And you miserable. You already have anemia. And you cold. And you're like, damn. And you ask if they got something to say. No. Oh, we can give you a lab coat. You say, okay, I take that. and they go get you a lab coat, and now you in your chair with the lab coat on, and you shivering, you ready to get the hell out of dialysis. But if you had this book before dialysis, and you would read that I have a chapter in this book, your first day of outpatient dialysis, your first day. Who's going to tell you when you got to start dialysis? Has anyone told you what to expect on your first day? You didn't know unless somebody in your family, you went with them or they told you. But for the average person, you ain't going to know what to expect. This book, that chapter, your first day of dialysis, prepares you for that. So what other nurse or somebody is going to try to prepare you so you know what to expect? Right when you open that door, what's expected? All the way down to your blood pressure and meeting the staff and knowing who's who and getting your weight. Your first day, you got to know what's up. Because you could be missing out on a lot of great information. Information that they didn't tell you at the hospital, that you could do home dialysis. And you mess around and you try to get a shift and they don't accommodate you and you want to still work. And now you can't work because you can't get a shift on dialysis to have it to where you can work. But if you knew about home dialysis, you could have did that and still work. You don't want to know after the fact. Now your dialysis is going on 12 months. You done quit your job. You pissed off. You trying to get money from the state or whatever. And you could have still been working because you could have did dialysis at home and worked that around your schedule. But the assholes at the clinic want to play politics and put you on a shift that's not conducive for you to work. So this is why I wrote this book, for anyone about to start. So if you see something in here, you know, like when you go to the other treatment options, you may say, hey, no one told me about home dialysis or peritoneal. I want to try that. You may be the type that travels. You and your wife or your husband used to travel before dialysis, and now kidney disease came in and did a left hook on you and knocked you down. But you're like, no, I still want to travel. But now you an inpatient and they telling you, oh, you got to plan months in advance and it may do this and this, and you trying to travel, and it's like an act of Congress to get you. It takes, like, you got to get this done and no one's doing their part. But check this out. If you was doing home dialysis with the machine, small machine, you can travel. You ain't got to worry about the Joes at the clinic. Is anybody setting their travel up or doing their part and getting the paperwork to the incoming facility? So it's a lot to think about. Again, if you're just starting or you know somebody, check out my book, How to Survive Outpatient Hemodialysis, a guide for patients with kidney failure. 37 years experience in this book. You will not be disappointed and will definitely help you in this journey that they call outpatient hemodialysis and how to survive it. Oh, thank you, Margaret. I appreciate it. Margaret says, Steve Book had me prepared. I appreciate you. Oh, you're welcome, Camille. Thank you for joining. Oh, Margaret said, thank God for the heated chairs. You must got heated chairs. Okay. See, some places got heated chairs. Thank you, Camille. God bless you, Steve. Thanks again for another great night. Well, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Comments like this keeps me doing what I'm doing. So I appreciate it. And thank you, Patrice. I appreciate you coming on. Please, guys, definitely support the YouTube channel. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers at YouTube. If you want TikTok and you haven't subscribed, just do it for the hell of it. I didn't ask for no subscribers or no, I know you guys tired of hearing about Cash App and people having a Cash App up and asking for money to pay their mortgage and stuff. I'm just asking for subscribers. It costs nothing. So, guys, I'm gonna sign off here on TikTok. On YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna continue to do this so you don't have to worry about it unless something happens to me. Keep your fingers crossed. Each day I just feel grateful for getting up. I don't take life for granted. By all means, I do not. So thank you guys for watching. Peace and blessings to you. Have a great Sunday evening. And I'll see you guys one day this week. I don't know what day because I'm working pretty much. Maybe Tuesday night. We'll see how that goes. So with that being said, have a great evening. God bless you on YouTube and Facebook. And have a great, if you go to treatment tomorrow, have a great treatment. If you go Tuesday, have a great and safe treatment. Thank you, Margaret. Sending prayers back to you as well. But have a safe treatment, guys. Stay blessed and encouraged. And I see you again, possibly Tuesday night. God bless.
Warriors around, don't get caught in the mosh pit. Fuel to the fire, ain't nobody can stop it. Trouble in my city, but you know I'm across it. Got a 40 on my hip and I'm liable to spark it. Throw down these hits, my click is indivisible. I aim, you duck, I squeeze, now you invisible. I'm not afraid of getting physical. All these different chemicals are fogging up my visuals. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we notorious, we ain't no runners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we some warriors, they ain't called gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Put on my sweat, put on the beat, put on the map, put on my team. Take out every motherfucker in between. Know what I mean? Better myself, better my aim, better my rep, better my name. Killing rappers on my hang, I'm by their chains for the fame. Never thought I would it, now I'm running. You don't wanna